For the record, the opinions and views expressed over the next hour are simply that. Opinions of the voices on this show. Nothing expressed now or in the future is representative of our sponsors and supporters. Though we do assume that our sponsors and supporters are as open-minded as the conversations you are about to hear. Ah, fuck it. Let's do this shit. Ding!
Hold your breath. Make a wish.
Hey, bonjour and welcome to
SprinkleSumSalt.
I am Bump Jonas here with the gang. Thanks for joining us. All right, let me light this thing up. And away we go. Excuse me. All right. So here we are again with the gang, episode 4. We're going to start from left to right. We have
Miss Kim. Justice.
Yo, Big Thrash, you already know.
Damo in the building.
We also have a special guest in the back, Pager Danger. All right, so today's topics are military and business. I will give you guys I'll give y'all the option of choosing which one you want to talk about
Military.
first. Military first. Big Thrax speaks
Can I
quick.
listen to this one? Because I don't know anything to speak about.
You know what? That's not the point. You absolutely have that opportunity. You have that choice to abstain. But, you know, it's not about expertise. It's about opinion and conversations.
Okay.
And a lot of times it's about just giving varying or different views on widely held topics. So.
Military.
All right, so we're going to go with that one first. Episode 4. Let's jump this one off.
Military. The willing casualties of the art of war. I like that. It's deep.
All right, so first off, let me just start right over here to the right. The very first start, you got 5 seconds. When I say military, what comes to mind?
Fuck 'em.
Big Thrax. First start.
War.
Military, what comes to mind?
War.
Military, what comes to mind?
Unnecessary casualties.
All right. Just for added color, Pager in the back. When I say military, what comes to mind?
Iraq.
All right. Good to go. So, just, and this is one that it doesn't matter. I'm just looking for just context for you guys as far as your background. What is your known history, or what is the known history of military as far as you understand, as far as you know? What do you know about military? What do you know about the history of it? How far it goes back?
I'll start this one. I don't honestly know all that much about it because I've never had that much of an interest since a youngin about that shit. So, like, I've just always had a distaste for that shit. So I just have never really looked into it very much. So.
Anybody else?
You know, I have no personal vested interest in it other than Thrax is my personal vested interest in the military.
Mm-hmm.
I have a distaste for it. I've had uncles in it. I've never been a big fan myself.
So you don't really know.
But you know what? And here's the thing: it's not the military, the men and women that serve in it, that I have a distaste for. My distaste is the government officials that run it. Is where my issue lies.
So you'd say that you have an issue with how it's
ran,
how it's applied,
how it's programmed,
okay,
and everything that surrounds it. Not the men and women that actually do the service in it.
That's a good vein or topic that you hit there. I want to come back to that, but do you want to add anything to that, or you?
I was just gonna say that I think it's like puppetry. I just feel like, you know, people in the military are like one of the biggest, or some of the biggest puppets.
They are the biggest puppets, or they're
Yeah.
puppeteers? I want to make sure
No,
we're clear.
I think they're puppets.
They're absolutely
Okay.
puppets.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's. I mean, I don't know too much about military, but like the things that I've read just kind of stems from military, and I feel like a lot of the people who are in the military, and I'm not really sure of the branches, but I wouldn't really say like everybody in it is a puppet, but I feel like the lower level of the military definitely just puppeteer, or just puppetry. It's like they just do and say whatever they're told. It's kind of like the most like Well, I don't want to say that because I don't want to offend anybody, but I'm just,
Well, when you go from puppet to robot.
yeah.
Repeat the question.
Well, we actually haven't hit the question. 'Cause the question
What do you feel about military?
He's like, man, wait, I'm high. I don't think I know what the
Nah,
Yeah.
that's
CBD.
relaxed.
No, the question. I mean, I'm not discounting anybody's answer, Mark. The question was, what do you know of the history of military? But at the same time, you guys have all kind of given me your history with the military. So we can go either way if you want to go with that. You know, to answer that question, what do you know of the history of military, or what is your history with the military? Either which way you want to go.
The military is just. I mean, that's a far-fetched question, to be honest. I mean, I think military goes all the way back to the Roman eras.
Okay.
And they even teach you like some of the Roman formations. I don't know how much y'all know about the Roman era, but it's one of the greatest conquering eras of all time. And they use their tactics alone. They're just called guerrilla tactics now. And that's as far as I know is where we get some of the knowledge and what we do. As in my relationship with it, am I for it? Not 100%, but am I thankful that we have it? Absolutely. And I won't go too far next. I'm sure you have.
No, I don't have that one, but that's a good one. I like.
But I'm very appreciative of the fact that we do have it, because believe it or not, the world is just a game. But the guys who really run this motherfucker, they like to play chess.
Yeah.
And the military is a chess game. And if we don't have our own pawns, kings and queens, and we don't have our own knights, if we don't have that, we will lose.
We can't play the game if we can't.
And that's
You
why
don't have the
rules.
pieces, right?
Or I guess we don't have a choice in playing the game. We become a different set on the
Yeah.
game, or we give them a different game piece if
Yeah.
we don't have the tools.
Absolutely.
Facts.
Okay.
Good
Okay.
point.
I can run with that. I like that. All right. I mean, again, that wasn't the way the question went, but I like the way. That wasn't how the question started, but I like the way it went. So I appreciate all the different views. And obviously leading into this, I think I mentioned to you guys that I was excited because it was military, and then I kind of lost interest because not everyone had positive views about military, but then I realized everyone has different negative views about military. So, or abstaining views.
And we just got a positive view.
Right. Well, and but it's a positive, negative. I don't know. It's a pregnancy test view. Bad joke.
It's that clear view,
Yeah.
easy that's not quite blue.
Yeah.
The false negative.
Yeah.
All right, so let's slide into another one. You know what? I want to kind of piggyback off of what you ended with there, and something that you said, and I have two questions to go with that. But I want to start off with this one: is being in the military honorable? And I'm going to start with you over here, Miss Kim.
I think it can be. I think if you enter it for a positive intent, with the right intent, it can be absolutely honorable. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel the same.
Okay.
If you go in it with the right state of mind and your right reasonings, then yeah, it could be honorable for sure.
No matter what, anybody
Big
who's joined you or anyone who joins, they tell you they didn't like it. They did. It's very honorable because they're very prideful. And like the Marine Corps itself, there's only been, of the total population numbers, there's only been 0.001% have been Marines. That right there, they pride the shit out that.
The total population of military force has only been 0.
That's ever been Marines to the whole world.
Right. That have ever been Marines.
That have ever been Marines. Yeah.
Wow. That's
And
pretty
that right there,
exclusive.
they really preach on that. And that right there, just like, damn, I'm one of those.
You're elite.
Yeah, pretty much. And it's very honorable. There's no, I mean, just in my opinion, there's no against it, because even if you did have a bad outlook on it, and if you got kicked out, you're still gonna reminisce them days, because they're some of them one of the best days you'll ever have. So, and you'll take pride in that. And it's just like, yeah, especially if you go anywhere, like to a different country, it's an amazing feeling. You know what I mean? And that right there, it just creates, like, I don't know, when you do certain things, like say you did an op for a month somewhere, you're gonna take pride in it, like shit.
Operation.
Yeah, operation, like a field op is where you're mandatory to go do something, like in training for your job, or say if this disaster happened or whatever ever happened. you take pride in it. It's like, shit, I was in the forest for 2 months. Like, damn, I did it this way, or I didn't take a shower for that long, but I still kept myself clean. Or it's that little shit. And it would just be like, yeah, I did that. You've never experienced it. That itself.
So I wanna hold that thought. I wanna ask Damo that question though. Like, do you feel there's honor, or do you feel that being in the military is honorable?
I mean, yeah,
He's got a smirk on his face for those that can't see it.
I feel like it is. I feel like that there's something about, like, I mean, there's something to say about what Thrax just said, but I don't feel like they, like, because he kind of generalized it and made it seem like literally every single person. And I feel like that there's weird people in this world that literally, like, they're not doing this shit for the honor of, like, oh yeah, like, I'm trying to, like, no, they literally just want the chance to be able to kill people, or something like that. So it's like, so for those people, I don't think that it's really like an honorable thing necessarily, like, but there's not I don't think that that's a large majority of the military or anything like that. I think even the the whole reason why I don't like the military is because my father was in that shit, and it's like, even him being in the shit, like, I look back on it and I always just had this taste as a kid, but it's like, and it's just something I can't really get away from. But it's like, now, like, looking at it, it's not like something that, like, that was kind of just his job, right, so it's not something that, like, but it's just one of those things where I still just kind of hold that, because it's just like, yeah, it's my dad, fuck that nigga, so fuck the military, because that's what he liked the most. He liked that shit over me, quote unquote. So yeah.
So from that aspect, it's hard to see honor from that particular angle, but you can understand the honor in the.
Right, because that was what he wanted to do before before a child was in his life, like, type shit. So
being in the military.
So, and, yeah.
So I would come back to Thrax's description and wonder if that is honor or if that's just sentimentality, or more so, if I listen to the things that you described, being 0.001%, or lived in the jungle or the bush and stayed clean while being dirty and someone else didn't. That sounds more like exclusivity. So then that sounds more like taking pride, which you did say pridefulness. So is that pride or is that honor? I'm just gonna throw that out there and move along. But that has a certain sense of, I did it and you didn't, so I'm dope.
I mean,
like, music has that on top. Like, everything has it.
So is that competitiveness then?
I mean,
which would definitely be hand in hand with the military, right? I would think.
Which is, but is that pride or honor? I don't know.
That's kind of why I threw it out there to linger, because I wonder. There is an honor in being able to say that I was able to I don't know, walk the jungles of some exotic land and make it through, right?
Or, you know what? I'll give you a better one. Example.
Well, there's no better one. I'm just.
Well, no. I can see how it sounds prideful. I would say honorable one is.
Well, no. I just want to explore that.
Because not everybody is gonna go through the
absolutely.
like an honorable situation necessarily.
But even dudes that I know have got kicked out or anything like that, there's always the sense of what's the word to explain it? All right, I'll go to example. Like, when you somehow, some experiences. Okay, let me reverse this. Some experiences, you're gonna get the honor because you go and help people. Which is just for example, right?
Okay.
So, like, say when the big disasters happened in 2013, right? A lot of us went over there to help and to give food out and water to the Philippines when half the island went under the water. That right there, when you landed and people are crying to help, and you take your own shit and give it to them, and you're right, not everybody experiences this. This is very true, and I respect that.
Yeah.
But when you're actually able to do and help others, and because you were just just sleeping like 12 hours ago, now you're in a national country helping others. You know what I'm saying? Helping clean up bodies and trying to help people, guide them home, or find the people that you're missing. That right there, experiences like that, you get the honor because
Right.
I tell
maybe
anybody,
it's
you'll
here,
never
maybe
see
it's
someone
here.
as low as when they lose their home,
Right.
when they lose people, or when they can't find anything.
Mhm.
Like the
The
fact that
natural
you
disaster
gave
will bring that
the
out,
natural
yeah.
fact that you came there and helped them, even if you didn't want to and you still did it, it's gonna give you a sense of honor.
Right.
And you know, in some experiences, you're right. Not everybody will get them honorable moments. So
But I think when you put okay, so I'm even more glad that I pushed a little bit more on that because when you then add that piece to it, right?
Because that's a part that is not portrayed as much. You know, like that's,
Or no, it's not.
that's not a take that you.
But when you combine that with again, there's still this exclusivity, right, of being a Marine in itself, right, the best of the best next
Right.
to the Navy SEALs, right. So you put that along with these humanitarian efforts, then you definitely can see like there's something else there that makes sense now
Right.
in that sense.
But let me ask you, do you remember hearing about the Marines going down to the Philippines and working? No.
You know,
Yeah.
But you heard about them in Iraq
Yeah,
killing
exactly.
people
absolutely,
and
absolutely.
invading
Exactly.
homes
Yep.
and dropping bombs
That's
and
what I'm
doing
saying.
that shit.
It's like you don't
No.
get that the way they Thrice just painted the picture.
Well,
You
Yeah.
don't get that very often.
this
So
I mean that's a
you don't-
good question,
you don't hear
right?
that shit, I'll say.
When do you hear good about the military?
You don't. That's what I'm saying.
When it's on commercials and they're trying to get you
The
to
few,
come
the
in.
proud, the Marines.
Yeah.
I was gonna say like your sports events.
Yeah.
You
I
see
mean,
the Marines.
Advertising when they want you to come in. That's the only time that you ever hear anything good about them.
I mean, other than, yeah, that's pretty much it. You're right. A lot of the little shit doesn't get reported. I mean, because they
That wasn't a little thing. Not to interrupt you, but you guys
I mean,
going
compared-
there
com-
and doing that was not a little thing.
But-
And
but-
that should have
compared
been.
to the trademark or the trade in war in Afghanistan, that's the bigger picture, right? That
It's
was,
not the bigger picture. That's what I'm saying. That
No,
is not
that,
the
no,
bigger
that,
picture.
that
blood
right
cells.
there, because that had
Right.
the most attention. That had the most people. So that's
That-
Yeah,
that
that's
has the
what I'm
most-
saying. It's like
that gives it the most view.
It had the most blood and it had the
Yeah,
most
that's the
political.
people
It
that
had the
they're
most
trying to
political
attract.
leverage. Is what's most, in my
Yeah.
opinion, in that case, it wasn't a feel good positive thing. Doesn't sell as much as a
It
negative
doesn't.
bloody thing.
Nope.
But also, when you're dealing with a humanitarian effort versus a war report,
Mm-hmm.
they're gonna care about the war report because that's got political leverage. That can. No one's.
It
There's no way to
creates
even talk
debates.
about. You can't have
It
talking
creates
head.
debates.
Exactly.
You can't have
You
a
can't
debate
do-
over a natural good.
Who's
or
gonna,
against the war.
who's gonna be the asshole that wants to debate against the humanitarian effort? I mean, there are now. We found Cheeto faces that will debate that,
Man.
but
Man.
beforehand. All right, so I like this though. I like where this is going. This just sounds like this might be a long one today, guys. I don't know. So, I'm gonna jump right into the next one that I had, and the question is basically. I want to make sure I say it correctly. Should we separate the soldiers from the military, the participants within the military? Should we separate them and how they're perceived from the overall perception of the military?
What do you mean exactly? Separate them? How would you separate them?
I
I mean,
mean,
they are the military.
I can't give an exact example, but I know that there are people who are against the military, but they support the soldiers. There are people that are quote-unquote hippies that aren't for military action, but they still have the yellow ribbons or I think it's the yellow ribbon, but
Yeah.
they support the soldiers. So that's my question is, so, like, I could pick on Thrax.
Well, they support their soldiers because those soldiers are their daughters and their sons and their husbands and their brothers and their uncles, and you're not going to turn your back on your people.
So then
you support them.
So then do they support the military? By proxy, do they support the military?
No, I think you're supporting that person and that person's choices.
So then,
So
That's
by
exactly.
proxy, you're supporting that person. So, like, for instance, Thrax, when he said he was going, I was dead set against it.
Right.
I mean, to the minute he went to that fucking car,
Mhm.
I was against it. All the way down the street.
all the way.
I would
Mad
have,
at me
I
for
would have had a
weeks.
ribbon around my tree
Yep.
because I supported Thrax,
Right.
and there's the difference right there.
Okay. I mean, and that's why I asked the question because I'm
You can't
sure
s-
that it happens. There's I won't speak to name because we're not getting paid, but there's a documentary that about an individual that was having military court-martial issues, and The family was saying I was a military person, I was a military mom, we're a military family, and all of a sudden it became, I feel bad for the troops. So there was still support for the troops in that regard, but it was definitely a disdain or a distrust or dislike for the military. So I was just curious to that
That goes to my
scenario.
very first statement of I disagree with how it's ran and who runs it and how
Yep.
they do it and their da-da-da-da-da-da, but I support the people that go because they're volunteering. They're going on their own free will. They're making the decision to go.
So are they volunteering?
Well, it's not volunteer because they're getting paid. They're
Okay,
getting paid shitty.
That's what I was. That's what I
shitty
was
money.
to.
Shitty money.
Is it shitty money?
It's shitty money.
Oh my God, yes.
I'm not.
It's
I say that
shitty money.
sarcastically, but I wanted to get more clarification on that.
Right, right.
Yeah, no, we are so underpaid. It's
ridiculous.
ridiculous. It's
You guys get a lot of stuff paid for, though, right?
like what?
No.
Okay,
Like what?
I wasn't sure. I
No.
thought maybe like your schooling was paid, like your housing was paid, like your family's taken care of
So
and stuff.
the housing. So if you're a single fucking cadet, airman, sailor, marine, soldier, whatever, grunt,
Spaceman.
whatever. No, if you are single, you live in a building called the barracks, the dorms, the whatever, which are disgusting, ran down. Unless you're the Air Force, unless you're the fucking Navy and overseas. Only two good things. If you're married, you get this thing called BAH, which is they pay you, but if you have a house, say you get a house on base, you're paying them right back. It's a recycle of money. So yes, you technically are getting free, but they pay you more because you are married and have kids. But you're gonna pay it right back because you're gonna be renting their house on the base,
Yeah.
and it's exact what you make. So it's like you never get the money.
Right, right.
So that's
right.
why a lot of people who live off base get a cheaper place, stack the rest of it, and go about it. And
Game
people have been
system.
doing it for over hundreds of years.
Right.
Or
Because otherwise
almost
they're
since-
game you because they're just laundering
Like
our
at least
money right back.
1900s. You know what I'm saying? They probably go fish up about people scamming the system for money.
Really?
Wow.
Because that's the only how you can actually afford and enjoy life. Because
Right.
anywhere they
In the
station you,
military.
yeah, anywhere. I mean, anywhere. Because say they station you in California. Say you're fresh in, you know, whatever.
Right, cost of living is shit.
Oh, it's
right?
ridiculous.
Yeah,
And they only pay you, say you're E1, maybe $400 every 1st and 15th. And that's after taxes. And you do pay taxes.
so unless you're living on
Yeah,
base
and
doing
even being
nothing.
overseas as an E1, I was barely making $485
Right.
every
Wow.
2 weeks.
Wow.
It didn't change until I got E3. Then when I got married,
Right.
that's when it just skyrocketed. That was
Even-
the only time I
And
made
even
money.
then, like moving, you know, it's kind of like being in the corporate world or the civilian business world. You know, you get promotions
Right.
and stuff, but moving through a promotion isn't the easiest thing, and it's not like
No,
there's a set record of what you have to do.
I mean, there's like checkpoints that you need to get
But you
to
still
the next
gotta
rank.
kiss ass and do
Oh,
certain.
kiss
my
ass all
understanding is that
day,
yeah,
all day. Fuck all that.
Right.
If you don't, see, there's a lot of people. You can tell the ones that have been dusted in and the ones who have been sweeped in. That's all I'll say. Dusted in is the ones that came in and didn't kiss ass, but it's done all the time. But it's not picking up rank good enough because they don't get. They're not gonna fucking suck your dick to
Right.
get that next rank. Fuck that.
Right.
Then you got the ones that sweep their ass in, which is hey,
Yes,
hey,
master.
what do you need? Yes, master.
State of
The fucking
Mississippi.
slave house niggas. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And that's exactly what it is. We went off
Wow.
topic, but
No. There's no. I mean, this is a conversation. There's no off topic. I just got questions to help guide us. I'm gonna come back to that another day, but I'm wondering. I'm curious about the parallel between military and slavery. There's something there.
it's
There's
100%
something there.
slavery.
There's a
We'll
lot
end it on
there.
that note.
They're
Oh.
There's a
parallel.
lot. There's a
They're
lot
parallel.
there. So, but I like that one.
Let me end it on that note. Let me end this. The USMC, United States Marine Corps, I had this saying, it's United Slavery Mental Corporation.
Ooh,
I had that on a shirt.
ooh.
And when I walked around with it, people...
Trademark.
Yeah, people fucking hated me. But like this. This was a form of what?
Right. Well, that was
Slavery.
Yeah,
They used to
yeah.
handcuff slaves like this. This is called parade arrest.
Right.
And your hands have to be just like this.
Right.
Slavery.
Because that's how you move your
It's
slaves.
100% slavery,
Yeah.
but it's just
Slave I remain.
willing slave. It's you're willing to be a slave to the system. Okay, but yeah, that's
No, this would.
I was waiting for it.
The
waiting
Justice
for
over
it.
here chomping at the bit. She likes
I
that
was
one.
waiting on it.
Slavery and sheeple, masking people. All right, so this one. I mean, again, we're not a group that has a whole lot of diverse military background. We are picking on big facts here. So I just want to throw this out here and ask anyone. And I'll pick on Damo over here. What do you think are skill sets to be in the military? What do you think are necessary skill sets? You're last. I'm coming back to you, Flash.
I figured.
Discipline, like steadfastness, and stick to itiveness, like being able to just pick something up and like continue through perseverance, resilience. I feel like those are traits, like ingenuity. I'm done trying to think of.
I was wondering, like, when the hell you gonna stop with these words, man?
You know the meaning of any of those words you just used.
I got my time in. That's what it is.
All right,
I'm gonna pick on Justice here.
Okay, so what are the necessary skill sets?
What do you think? We're not asking for
Sure.
the cement ones, but what do you think are some necessary skill sets to be in the military?
Pulse.
Ooh.
You have to have a pulse. And you have to live your country. That's it.
Okay.
Thank you.
I am absolutely with Justice. I don't think you need any.
Don't need any.
No, and I think that because when you get in there, whatever you had, they're going to take from you anyway, and they're going to break you down to absolutely zero
Psyop.
and build you back up the way they want you anyway. So it's best you go in with fucking nothing.
Jeez, I almost wish we had a whole other hour to extend this conversation because we definitely keep playing on slavery there. But
They do that. That's absolutely how it works.
I want to
Prove me wrong.
I'm just here to narrate. I want to transition to Thrax and ask him a flip to this. And the question for this one is, coming from the military, what do you think are necessary or good skill sets to have to be a civilian?
Be a civilian?
Yeah.
Oh man, I struggle with this every day.
Which is why I'm picking on you with this one.
Oh man, things they really should help you on. Patience. It's gonna sound corny, but positivity. Like they have to give you a way to help your mind to to be more at rest, be at ease, and start enlightening more on what life could possibly bring you.
Okay.
So I wouldn't say counseling, but man,
certain mental wellness.
Right. I wouldn't say therapy because a lot of vets get offended by that. So I wouldn't go that phrase. And the only reason I say that is because we don't like talking to people, especially if you've never experienced it. If you've never been there, if you never signed,
you don't have the time to explain.
And I'm not trying to argue. This is the mentality. We just tell you can't tell us shit because
you haven't been there.
That's
you haven't spent 72 hours.
Right. So say
you've
never stayed up.
So my question is, like, you can't have somebody that's been in that situation, be it like a therapist or a counselor or something like that, and be in that situation.
Yeah. I would agree that would be a possibility. From my understanding and experience with ex-military, it's not so much that, okay, fine, now I have someone that I could talk about it to, right? That's fine. He's on the same level as me.
No, but how can to help you?
Well, but this is the piece, though. I think my impression or what I've gained from people in the military is that the way the system is built is that you're not allowed to talk about those things. You're not allowed to show that moment of weakness, to show that break in your armor. So therapy is a bad word, whether it's trying to explain something to somebody and taking the time to show something to someone that they couldn't understand, or allowing yourself to be vulnerable enough to explain that to someone is not something that's allowed, whether it be in the military experience because of what you do or because of the military culture, because of how they want you to be. That would be my guesstimation.
Right.
I don't know, but
I can't get that.
And I was going to ask
that's
that.
Black culture. That's a lot of
that
cultures.
is. Well, that's a whole other thing, but I sometimes wonder if a lot of what we consider black culture or other cultures are just derivatives of a constant military presence in our lives, in our civilizations, and in our government structures. But that's a whole other...
And I was going to ask that, as a ex-military person, is that taught to you as a defense mechanism? You are strong, you are proud, you don't need therapy, you are self-sufficient,
Absolutely.
you are strong, you fix this yourself, you
Absolutely.
do yourself, you don't need anybody outside of that.
Absolutely.
Well, I mean, I
Right.
think that's the easy answer, but at the same time, going back to Damo's point, that it's black culture. I'm very sure that.
What
Right.
percentage of the military is actually black?
It's very low.
I don't know.
very-
Well,
So can you use the black culture as a?
Wait, no,
Wait.
they are racist.
You're missing a point there when
Yeah.
you say that. He's saying that that particular idea or concept of dealing with its stoicism isn't. It's not
in a lot of cultures.
Yeah,
like,
it's not
just-
exclusive to the military.
No, it's not exclusive,
they
no,
can't-
you're right.
So
they
that's-
can't
that's
just
where
sit
he's
there and
saying.
try to just be like, oh well, they'll get offended about that. Well, we gotta break this stigma somehow. Niggas
Right.
No,
gotta
we
talk
do.
about shit.
You're right.
So that's
so
what I'm
like-
saying is that I know for Thrax that he has experienced black culture. If I reference Damo
Uh-huh.
prior to the military, but he's also experienced culture in general where there would be no vulnerability or being open about things.
Right,
So-
but I was asking, in the military, is that insinuated?
What, to not open up, to not be vulnerable?
Right,
Absolutely.
to handle this
Absolutely.
shit yourself. Be a man, take care of that
Absolutely.
shit.
Absolutely. As
But
far as my
no.
understanding, that was my point. Like, that is the way it works. I mean, if we go back to ancient Sparta, which is where a lot of people get their military bases from, powerhouse of Spartans. I mean, they supposedly took babies out at 6 months old and put them in the cold, and if you made it through the night, you were good to go, and if you didn't, then you're done. I mean, that probably that's a harsh example, but that's that was the benchmark for a lot of manly men. So
Male children, I assume.
I would assume, but I don't know. I don't know.
People want lady children anyway,
And
women
To
children.
go back to your question,
That's a good question. I don't know that they ever have, other than for dowry purposes, but that's another podcast episode.
another trait they should teach you is to learn to trust.
Mm.
And that's a very hard trait they don't teach you at all. They said only the people around you.
Is that even possible in the military to teach a person to trust?
It's definitely doable. Will it take a lot of time? Yeah. Would people want to spend the time? No.
Well, I mean,
But it's definitely doable.
your purpose, or you're not your purpose, but the purpose of military is to.
Distrust, isn't it?
Well,
like to
I
be
mean-
skeptical, to
Well, to always be on alert. And always
Yeah.
be on,
So
yeah,
you're gonna
but-
have a certain level of paranoia. Right?
Yeah, I'm always paranoid. You're always gonna be
Right.
paranoid, no matter
Right.
what. But they can sense as you're transitioning out to be like, hey, the life is gonna hit you like this. They can actually guide you and be like, you know
Okay.
what? When some people are genuinely trying to help you, they're not offending you.
Right.
They're just trying to help you and be like, hey, because like you say, you don't like to be vulnerable. You don't like to look sound weak. And again, that also goes to our culture. So I get it. But if they can show you, show you a way, like, hey, there's actually people out there who give a fuck about you. Regardless if they're not related to your blood
So
or not.
de-escalate you after
Yeah,
they've
it could-
escalated you in this
Right, they
box,
got you
right?
so fucking just on the edge over here to where you hear one breath, you're cock
Right.
locked and ready to load. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So it's
Go
like,
from
yo,
that to be
unwind
able
it a
just
little
to
bit,
be able to
bring it
say,
back
hey,
down.
it's gonna be hard to relax.
Yeah.
But that word is gonna be very serious. But next question.
No, this is good. I want to go back to your question. I don't know the answer, but I can tell you that the black percentage in the military, though it may be low now, it's not really that low. Or the overall black involvement in the military has been pretty significant in general. And it may be just from the images that I've seen where the involvement has been significant, but even from the days of the Roman Empire up until now, there's been a pretty strong contingent of black presence in the military.
We just gotta start
I think
having
there's
a
a
fact.
reason for that.
We just gotta have a fact.
You got nowhere else to go?
We just gotta start having a fact checker.
Absolutely.
Hey, Justice, you wanna start being a fact
No,
checker?
Papa
What did he
John
say?
knows.
What'd you say, Damon?
Be a fact checker.
Fact checker?
Yeah, like
Oh,
podcasters be having. Yeah,
Fact checkers?
They're boosting. But yeah, Joe Rogan be having his fact checker and shit like that.
Yeah, Joe Rogan.
We need something like that.
All right, so how about we go to?
So, yeah,
This is lighthearted. I think it's lighthearted. It might be a hard question, I don't know, but
African Americans is 13%.
I think that's pretty good when you think
See,
of the
I
percentage
want
of
to
our.
piggyback off that for a second because I'm just kind of like relating
13%
that
is
with like
low as fuck.
You said
Well,
that's
I mean,
pretty
what-
good.
I think that's good when you
What
compare it
percent
to
of-
the percentage of the
what percent of
population.
the
We're like 26.
American population.
We're like
black, yeah.
less than 30% of the population. The black or African American population of the United States is 30% or less.
I did not know that.
So if we're at
Oh,
50,
so
so
that's
if
what you're basing
15% is
Comparing
in
it to that,
13.
I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
like you can't
Not
compare
13%
it to the
of the
entire
black population, though.
Yeah, you can't.
No, I'm just saying. I'm saying that if the overall whole United States and 30% of that is black, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then whatever number of percentage of people join the military, and 13% of that
How many
is
people are in the
African
military?
American.
It depends on each branch.
Yeah.
Each branch has different numbers. Marine Corps is less than 1 million.
You know what? I might have disagreed.
Marine Corps got like 800,000. It might have less now. It was cutting when I was
Right, so then they make up 13% of that whole
All
population.
I know is
in.
that
They're adding all the
I give
branches
you the wrong
together.
number.
I know a lot of growing up for me. Growing up for me, a lot of
Sorry.
men that I knew through my dad, through my granddad, had been in the military before.
Mm-hmm.
Most black families have at least 1 to 2 persons
You
that
feel
have been
like
in the
it's because
military.
they didn't have nowhere else to turn, so
No,
they
Yeah.
like
he's
hammered
right.
Yeah,
it.
You're
absolutely.
absolutely right.
Absolutely.
You're absolutely right.
I would say that
was
for-
good.
I mean, I feel like,
hit.
yeah,
Yes,
I
you
agree.
know where to go.
I agree,
Oh, God.
110%.
Vietnam was about drafting motherfuckers
Yeah.
and motherfuckers not having nowhere to go.
Oh God.
Now I feel like it is more of like,
It's still,
so like, you know how
it's
like,
still,
it's
it's
still
even
the same.
worse.
You know what's crazy? There are more white women in the
Mm-hmm.
military
Yeah.
than there are black men.
I would
Yeah.
believe that.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, because they got nowhere to go, and that's what they do.
absolutely.
And what?
I'm sorry,
Oh,
that
they
just
got-
surprised me a little bit.
Let's
I don't
not
know
go
why
there.
that did.
Let's not go to.
Yeah.
That just really surprised me. I don't know, it just did. I don't know why it did, but it did.
That's
So okay, I hope this is a lighthearted question. I don't know, it might even be a difficult question, but what's the difference between military music versus music in the military?
What?
What, like anthems, or like?
Hmm? Like, I mean, you know, like when you think of the word military music, what is that? What is that?
I
come
don't
up
even
to?
know what that means.
yeah.
I mean, every branch has their own anthem, and yeah, but they're
There's
old as
pro,
fuck.
mutant, pro. Okay, so,
So they're like the fucking Star Spangled Banner bullshit. It's the same thing,
just
but Bro,
patriotic.
yeah, that was one of your questions.
Yeah, and so I'm saying, what is that? So what do you hear in the military in that realm
I hear
versus the music that gets played?
It was
Hear
too
what you
high
guys
whenever
actually
he wrote
play.
down that question.
I was,
When I
totally
hear that,
sober.
I think of drums. The old school when it first annoying as
The drumline drums,
No, like just drums. They used to play drums as an entertainment back in the day.
really?
When they were gonna start a war, they would always play like a little, like the Marine Corps.
Mhm.
They had like special drummers, and they would play on the drums before
Oh,
any time of
okay,
battle because it was
okay.
entertainment. It got them.
It was the
focused.
cadence.
Yeah,
the-
pretty
the-
much. The hey, let's go. You know what I'm saying? That's what it was.
So is that a steady tradition? Is that something
yeah.
that happens
You marched.
to this day?
Yeah, you march to it.
The
That's,
drums.
Yeah.
So is there a guy now
It's
that?
called a cadence. There it is.
Yeah.
Like the anthem's like a cadence. That's what I think of.
So and then so you guys have that through the military. You're
Yeah.
taught that, it's ingrained in you. It's
Yeah.
part of the process, right? So then, what is the music that gets played in
And
the
so
military?
make sure it depends. I mean, are you talking about like the individuals?
Just in general.
Oh,
it
it's
doesn't matter. If
mixed.
you guys have a chance to play music and just
Oh, it's a lot. Oh, there's a lot of fucking country ass white boys.
so then what is it? That's what I want to know.
I mean, it depends on where you're at in the station and what branch you're in, honestly. Because
So if you're-
Okinawa was more hip hop than anything.
Okay.
Because they call that the fucking immigrant island.
Okay.
Just if y'all didn't know that, United States. Ooh. But no, there was more hip hop there because there was more minority, or not. I shouldn't say minority. Different race other than Caucasian there,
Mhm.
and we all came to like, yeah, we like this over that. But I mean, it just really depends on where you're at.
So then when
and
you
what
went
building you're in.
to Korea, what kind of music was being? Did you have the military music, the cadence music, the same drilling and rhythm, any of that stuff involved?
Hell no.
That wasn't okay.
No,
so none of that,
anytime you go on an opera thing, you're not gonna drill or march or anything.
you're not gonna do
No,
any of that.
you stop drilling and marching pretty much after you leave boot camp.
Do you have any of that motivational, patriotic, yeah, hoorah type of music, or
I mean, no, other than like fucking speeches, but I mean,
Right.
other than that, no, there's no music that gets.
right? Yeah, they don't do that.
Other than like the Marine Corps hymn, like,
Right. So this is what I'm getting at.
you got the silent drill team. Them, I mean, that
What
gets
the hell is that?
the silent drill team. Oh, the silent drill team is the
That's a military thing.
Yeah, they march and drill, but they don't do no commands. It's all in sync. You've never heard of them, the silent drill?
Wow, that
Oh,
sounds
it's
dope as
insane.
fuck.
Oh, they're insane.
That
It-
sounds like
it's
some
20
AOR
of them.
shit.
It's 20 of them, and they're in sync. Like they throw the rifles up. Like they don't talk.
Right.
They make no noise
How do
other
they
than
step with
smacking
each
the
other?
weapons. Huh?
That's hard. I was gonna say, how do they step in rhythm with each other?
So when you decide to go into the military, could you like apply for that position?
What do you mean?
Silent drill?
So
How do you
so,
get into
so
that?
the silent drill team.
You gotta be like.
I want to go
you
into the
gotta
military,
audition.
but I'm
So it's gotta be
making
like you have to
music.
be a certain height, a certain weight. You have to be a certain shape, and you have to be certain You have like a few other qualifications.
Wow.
Is that
You're
just
not
like a
considered
perk
like,
of
yo,
being
his
in the
elbows just
military,
lock
or is it like
perfectly.
I'm still confused like how you even get in doing that?
You got to be the same.
Your elbows have to lock
Well, so
perfectly.
basically what they'll do is like if there's like positions open or like open abilities, they'll post them, and if you qualify, but again, you have to be the same height, same weight.
So it's like a
everything.
perk.
Yes.
Okay, you bored? Once you
Yeah.
come be a silent driller.
Yeah, but in the Marine Corps, it's an honor because of the fact that how they do it, and I don't know. You just have to. If you watched it, you might be a little bit more impressed. Like,
No,
how the
I'm
fuck are
sure.
they?
Just the
It
sound
sounds,
of it is
it sounds
It's
amazing,
fucking
for sure.
insane. But no, it's really just if you're lucky. You got to be 6'2", or 6'2" to 6'4", like 190 pounds, maybe 200 at the most. You got to be you got to have a
Blonde,
certain
blue
haircut.
eyes.
All right, so this has actually been. I got what I want. I thought that was.
Can I say something just on the music shit?
Yeah, absolutely.
Cause I had a like cousin that was in the military and he was like in the Navy, I believe, or the Marines, and pretty much he like this was back before like social media was as prevalent, and he used to pretty much like tell me stories about like really not knowing what was going on, like like while he was whenever he would be deployed and shit like that, because it's like now like I would guess that like they still have access to social media at certain points even while they're deployed, but like back then it was social media wasn't as prevalent, so it was like you weren't just getting the information from that, so it was just kind of one of those things where you had your shit that you had downloaded, and that's what you was running with until you got back type shit. And then if you had a friend or something like that, they was listening to something that you like, all right, you might fuck with that, but it was usually like by the time that y'all got back, y'all were outdated, and everything that y'all
so
are
you're
listening
constantly
to.
behind and trying to catch
everything
up.
that y'all are listening to, everybody's like, bro, that was like 2 years ago, bro. Have you heard his new shit? Like,
I've been overseas.
He done dropped 3 albums since then, and it's like, what? Like, what? Like so that's
you line wires down, my dude. I don't know.
yeah, like that's kind of how it was. But I know that it's a little bit different now because it's social media and shit like that.
Everything, so the consumption.
Yeah, like I'm sure they're a little bit more on on the speed. You see military people doing TikToks and shit now.
Yeah,
so like,
that's.
Right?
And that's why I asked, because music, from what I've seen, is very, very prevalent in the military. Like just from the TikToks to the what is the NCO, not NCOs, but they go and they do the shows and everything. So there's always this entertainment factor in there. So I was just curious, like, what aspect do they have on a day-to-day basis that they try and like, pump in the music and make everything seem dandy, while on the other side, you guys are going and hitting the gym and rocking out the Anthrax or Pantera or some shit.
They just try to keep you amped in. It's like motivational speaking. That's what they try to do more than anything.
All right, so business.
Which is none of mine.
Mind your own.
And that
Mind
is
your
the
own.
window. We like to call that the window.
Are you gonna mind your?
All right, so we're gonna do the same as we did to start this off. I'm gonna come right back to you. I'm gonna start over here. 5 seconds. First thought when I say the word business.
I want mine.
All right. First thought, business.
It's gonna sound a little off, but bear with me. Human psychology. It's my
I like
first
that.
thing.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. Hold on to that.
Okay.
Cannabis.
All right. Business.
Money.
All right. I like that. Okay, so I'm gonna start over here with Justice.
Yeah, I knew it.
Why did you know that?
Human psychology. I mean,
Well,
why wouldn't you
Gotta
start
run-
with that?
Gotta run with that. I like that.
It's like
All
my
right.
favorite topic.
So,
Let me say I was going to be disappointed if you didn't.
is business inherently good or bad?
It could be both. Business is literally in everything. You can make anything a business. Most of the time, I feel like it's. I don't want to say bad because I feel like that's too harsh. It's not. Business can be both positive and negative reasons, for positive reasons and negative reasons.
Okay.
I feel like the business that we want to be in is for positive. The bigger picture of business, I feel like, is negative.
Oh, okay. That was an interesting take. Okay. So I'm gonna recap what you said. So you feel like your general interest or our overall interest from a family unit would be a positive impact.
Yeah, for sure.
You feel like that's on a small scale that the individual effect of business can be positive, but the overall effect of business is generally negative.
Yeah,
Okay.
for sure.
So I'm gonna come over here. I like that answer the same question. Is business inherently good or bad?
I think it's good until you get to a certain point, and then greed takes over, and it becomes no longer business; it becomes greed.
Does
think-
business beget greed? Does it create greed in itself?
Yes.
It's addicting.
Well, business doesn't create greed; money creates greed. So when your business gets to a certain level, it's no longer business; it's greed.
You don't you start a business to make money?
You do, but humans have to go and fuck it up, like we always do. We are insatiable with everything, and we can never get enough. And just like business, just like everything else, we won't get enough, and we will turn that business into greed.
So I like the word insatiable and greed stick out to me because I want to kind of dive into that. I do. I like insatiable.
Because he's insatiable and greedy.
Insatiable. I am not greedy, but no. So, well, I wanted to kind of ask that. I don't want to dive too far off topic,
Right.
but insatiable is the urge to be unsatisfied, to constantly need to be satisfied, right? Does greed become is greed because you want to have it all? Not meaning that you're unsatisfied, but meaning that you want to have it and no one else has it? So is greed a selfish aspect?
Greed is selfish.
Okay, so then is insatiable selfish then?
Yes.
Why is that?
Because you can't get enough.
Right, but if you could get enough...
Mind over matter.
Well, no, walk with me on this one. If greed is wanting to have it all to yourself, and insatiable is not ever being satisfied, if you could have something that had unlimited supply that everyone had, you could be insatiable without being greedy, right?
No, you cannot, because we are humans, and it doesn't matter, because there
Okay,
will always be
so
something.
you're just saying from the sake of
I
humans
don't even
that's
think
just
that's
how it
human
works.
nature. I just feel like that's the nature now.
No, that's
To be
human
insatiably
nature.
greedy.
Yeah, I don't feel like that's how humans are supposed to be. I just feel like that's how we are now.
No, I don't think that's how we're supposed to be. No.
So I feel like using the term we're humans is kind of like a broad statement because, I mean, I don't feel like that's kind of like off topic, so I don't want to get too much into
Well,
it.
no,
I feel like
think it's
maybe
in
like
topic, actually, but go ahead.
I feel like that's not how we're supposed to be. I just feel like the ones who are greedy and the ones who are insatiable are also the ones who are like sociopaths. You know what I mean? So it kind of like plays into that because I feel like when we start our businesses and when we do it, we're not going to be greedy and we're not going to be insatiable.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because
We assume we're not.
I mean, I don't feel like it's in any of our characteristics to even have those qualities inside of us. You know what I mean? I just feel like it's certain people that are insatiable and greedy.
So-
mainly the people that are in like big business, like what I said, like the overall negative of business, are the ones
So-
who are greedy and insatiable.
Money is like a drug.
I want to pick on
It's
Damo
like a
there.
drug.
If someone were to start a business, again asking if business is inherently good or bad, if someone were to start a business with all the good intentions, could they, through sheer luck of just having a really good business, become corrupt and bad? If they started off with honorable, good intentions?
I mean, could they become? Yeah, I feel like anything can be tainted. Anything can be like, especially whenever you enter in evil, like something that is already tainted. So like, you can't just expect to be pure and jump into murky water and then walk out the other side and still just like your shirt still be white. You know, like, so it's just one of those things where I feel like you kind of have to take into account that there's gonna be some change that happens.
You're gonna get dirty along the way, sully a little bit.
Yeah, you have to.
Okay.
When humans get a taste of something, when people, I don't want to say humans, when people get a taste of something they've never had and they like it, and they like it a lot, money, they want more. They want a little more. They start getting things they've never had before. Get a little more, a little more, a little more, a little more. Ooh, if I just had a little more money, I could get that. If I had a little more money, I could get that. Ooh, this house, kind of grew out of it. I can get a little more money. I can get a little bigger. And it becomes insatiable.
I don't want to go too far into that because I disagree. Well, I actually agree with Justice on this in that case because I think that your assumption that human nature is naturally flawed is because of programming. But I think that programming is because of business and the way that we perceive business and how it has been perceived. But now I've shown my hand as the narrator, so
it's absolutely programming though. But see, I don't disagree with you because every 10 minutes of a show is stopped by 4 2-minute segments of commercialism, which is programming you to spend money,
right?
Which is business. So there's your flaw in the business right there.
That's awesome.
So it is programming. I agree with you.
So I want to ask Thrax, in your opinion, what does running a business mean?
Full score 7 years ago.
I love like
running a
the
business. What does that mean to me?
answer.
Me personally, I think that's. Man, I don't know how to explain that. It's a good ass question. I'm stuck. CBD hit me.
You wasn't paying attention.
I mean, half of it I wasn't. I ain't gonna lie.
That's because he was thinking about his business.
I was thinking of some other shit. So, honestly, what is a good business?
So what does running a business mean?
Run a business. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Yo, come back to me on that. Honestly, what does it mean when we running a business?
That CBD business is busy.
Honestly, okay.
He's busy.
Honestly, I think
He's on lunch.
I think it's someone who. I mean, like, I don't know. That question's so broad because it's like there's so many different businesses, and there's like it depends on the mentality of the person who created the business. Like the pharmaceutical business, I'm against. Totally percent 100 against. So I mean, if you want to go to cannabis, I would say it's someone who thoroughly enjoys it. It's someone who likes to spread it. You know what I'm saying? And that's like the only business or like clothing, like people who, like in my opinion, like Eat Me Teas coming soon. Like the part like I would like to get invested to the big man teas. I would say myself, I would see running a business because it's hard to find good apparel for a big dude. Okay. So for someone to come into the business, like, think how hard it is for that person or whatever trend or people they're trying to attract, whatever they're going for, they're thinking for them. Like, I've been in this position, so they're trying to bring a good service.
So they're trying to
supply a need. Yeah, supply a need and support them. So it's like you don't have to order online to where you don't know if it's going to fit you or not. It's something that is going to fit somebody. But
so would it be safe to say that from your perspective, running a business is being able to supply a need or a service to someone?
There you go. Well said.
Okay. All right. I want to try and recap what you guys are saying so I understand what I'm hearing. All right. I'm gonna pick on Damo. We'll go back. We'll go kind of around in a circle here. Well, just right off the bat, what would you think would be one of the best run businesses right now?
You can't use COVID testing site either.
Wow.
Best businesses right now. Like to start,
just like what business right now you think is being run or operated the best right now that you think is making the most profit or having the best impact? Just whatever you deem as a good process, what do you think is one of the best businesses being run?
It's like a trick question.
Yeah.
Why is that a trick question?
Because you could say like, well, fuck, vaccines is the best business right now because they're making hella money, but they are corrupt.
Damo, name the best run business in your opinion.
Best run business.
Does that have to be legal?
I don't. Honestly, I'm not like from what aspect are we looking at? Like,
I mean, any aspect in terms of your perspective of the business world, how things are run. I mean, you can say Apple's the best run right now because they are able to get people to buy the biggest bunch of junk on the quickest frequency. Whatever your angle of business is, vaccines could be the best business because they've got the biggest amount of people taking the most dope right now.
That's
Whatever.
the pharmaceutical world in general.
So right now, the best run
Pharmaceuticals,
business
absolutely.
from your perspective.
Absolutely. Pharmaceuticals will never stop.
Yeah.
They'll never stop. They'll be the most profited anything in this world.
Oh, yes.
Anybody that has common sense and really looks and stuff.
I mean,
it's my bad. I didn't take a question.
no, but to piggyback that, 100%. I feel that because just off of the information I've seen, like, because I was about to just kind of cap off and be like, yo, like, I honestly feel like I don't have enough to, like, answer this question, but, yeah, like, no, if we're going, like, I would say that the pharmaceutical, like, just going off of, like, fentanyl, for example, and just, like, oh, okay, but, yo, they've got pretty much the same company that's got the pin to like save you from overdosing on fentanyl is the companies that help make fentanyl or help distribute fentanyl in the first place. So it's just shit like that where it's like, yo, like even whenever y'all lock them out of the business of making the drug, y'all let them make the cure.
Right.
And it's just so like there's so much money to be made in regardless.
There's a reason for that.
Back to her point. What?
No, there's a reason for that. They do that intentionally.
For?
Well, they do the trials, the studies, so they know the outcome of said drug. So they always make a counterbalancer.
Oh.
That's how it works.
So it's a built-in side
Yes.
hustle,
Yeah,
almost.
but it's like they shouldn't be able to
no.
make their own cure though.
It's like when I make a meal and I have dessert.
So, all right. Well, then, what's the worst run business or industry?
Can I answer that?
Go ahead, please.
The United States government.
Ooh. Hold that.
So you think that's the worst business run?
That is the worst business ran.
Hey, shit's about to get confusing, but I promise it'll all make sense. I mean, I can agree with that. Yes, you're right. It is ran shitty.
Yeah.
But it's. I hate to say this. There's a reason why it's still running.
Well, yeah.
I'm just saying. So it's ran shitty, but it's done. There's something there that's doing like the algorithm.
There's
or whatever.
money being
There
made
is something
somehow.
there that's
Somebody's
still
making
pumping
it.
to create warfare, to create more diseases, flus, or different study and trial areas
So,
for the
are you
pharmaceutical world.
insinuating
To dominate-
that it's
dominate
made to
thought.
look like it's poorly ran on the surface
Of course,
for all us
of course.
dumbasses?
run
Because
like
it
a
keeps us
well-oiled
confused
But-
and talking.
But underneath, it's a beautiful piece
No,
of
I
machinery.
ain't trying to twist my word. I never said it was.
No, I don't mean
No,
beautiful as in
but-
it's really
but
beautiful,
whatever
but it's
goal-
done.
But for
Magic.
whatever goal it's built for, it's doing it.
Was it?
Whatever they're shooting for, they're doing it.
So it is
The
magical.
currency
I mean,
was not the,
it's-
like, they
it's
were
crazy to
bartering,
understand
shit
it.
Like that was
They're
way
10
more
steps ahead of us every
prevalent
time.
than-
No matter
than
what,
just-
it's ridiculous.
just
It's like
money.
every
Right,
outcome.
there's different ways.
Even if they didn't
Even
even
in
hesitate
America,
the
it wasn't that
outcome,
way
they
until
still have something for that outcome. That
Because we
makes
had
sense?
gold behind
It
it.
is
behind the money.
It's
And
just amazing
and then all of a
that
sudden
they're
now
able
we
to
don't
keep
have
it
gold behind the money. It's
going.
fake
You know,
behind
even
the
with
money.
all the stuff
And
that we
God
know,
we trust.
Right.
they keep
And
going
it's
because
written
we
on
wake
the-
up
on the
today.
dollar.
We're
And
still
so
United States
now,
of America,
literally,
right?
we were
We
able
still
to
follow the laws,
dominate
right?
the
We
thought
still follow,
of,
we still
alright,
don't
our
fuck with
dollar
police
is
and that
worth
shit, right?
more, which is
You know
our
what I'm saying?
faith is
It's
worth
still
more
going.
than China's.
So it's like,
Right.
It's because the cops are a business. The
Or-
governors,
or
the state
our faith
representatives
is
are a
worth more than
business.
China's
So this-
silver.
Yeah, it's all one big business.
so,
That's what I'm saying. That's
this
how
is-
powerful it
But
is.
we get new representation every
This is
every
good.
whatever election, right? It's somehow it's stupid. I
I don't know that makes it good. I just think
No,
that makes
it's
it
doing
very
something.
It's
veiling.
good because it's
very
genius,
veiling.
is what he's saying. It's
Yes,
genius.
it's genius,
You're
yes.
just doing it so good. It's fucking genius.
Even if
Not
it-
good as in like you fucking really helped me, man. You did a lot
Even
of
if
good.
it shits,
No,
even if
it's
it
not
shits
like
the
that.
bag, it still somehow becomes good on the out end. I don't know how
So
to
you
do
know
it.
what's interesting? Just to tie these two, because we were like having a sidebar here about money and how like you know, the whole need for money or money itself or currency wasn't even real in a sense up until
Nixon.
right, because of how we used to have we had the barter system or
Right.
different versions of what was valued, and then all of a sudden it becomes no gold is
Nixon.
attached, and now it's just straight.
Currency
Nixon all of a
paper
sudden
is
becomes
Nixon.
a matter of faith, right?
Yeah,
And so
no
then
matter
you tie
what.
that faith back to the government. It can take the shit, and it still somehow does what it's supposed to do. Because somehow we as Americans or people have this blind faith into this system. In God we trust. And somehow that comes
stupid.
from the government as well. So there's this
Religion,
weird
a business.
and yet we're kind of getting to the hippie phase here, but right somehow we're supposed to have separation of church
Of church and state,
Yet
but we have
don't.
Christianity on our money.
right. You know what I mean? So there's
So I'm gonna need somebody to explain that to me.
and yet we can easily come back and compare our government to a business.
It's
You know what
It
I
is
mean?
a
It's
business.
so interesting. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness, Pager Rager has a hand raised in the corner.
Just want to
Point
point
your
out
danger.
something. Our Dollar General that we live by, I don't know if like that's okay to say, but
no.
they've officially gone cashless. It's all like
So has
cards.
yeah.
So it's like
That's a common thing coming up very
Yeah.
quickly. Very
it's
quickly.
affecting businesses like that. Like
It's very
money,
quickly.
Just money
It's-
in business.
That's a whole other. That's a whole other tangent that I want to take. We're going to bring that to another topic. But money and how it ties in general is pretty scary, especially with Pager's commentary. But I want to come back to the government part because that actually is a question, and I think we already have the answer from Thrax here. But my question is government a business or some other type of experiment that we have to kind of like make sense of things?
Oh, it's totally a business.
It's a business.
Totally
It is
business.
the process, the way we do it is a business. Would you agree with that, Justice?
Is it a business? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Are you confident in that answer? Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't want to overthink it. It's a business.
Damo, would you say that government itself is a business or something else?
I don't think the microphone would hear your head shake.
I mean, if we wanted to go with the there's like a definition for what our government specifically is, but
Yeah, we're a democratic republic.
yeah,
is what
whatever
we're
the fuck, but
officially
we're
called.
not even necessarily that. Like whenever you actually look into
No.
what we do, but yeah, I mean, I guess it's a business, you know, like like in a way, but.
Just because everything can be a business,
Yeah.
you can include. That's why I was
Right.
kind of
Like,
hesitant,
there's-
because
right.
you can make anything a business, and yes, I guess you could say that the government is business.
And that's why I asked, because you do have that sort of blurred duality
Like-
in our government,
Like
right?
anything that benefits off of currency is business,
Is business.
right? Like,
Yep.
Really, yeah.
Absolutely.
Or operates.
They
well,
send bills. They collect money.
Well, I mean, is that true though? Because you could have a business.
Where,
And not
how
necessarily-
much money is the government in debt? I think
Oh,
that's
trillions,
something-
several
I
trillions.
think it's
It's
something
like
like
I don't
a
ever,
business.
I
That's
never
not
understood
real.
that.
Yeah,
I never
yeah,
understood
right.
like how can we be in debt to
I saw
ourselves?
that
We make
big
our
one.
own. fucking
No, we're not in
money.
debt to ourselves,
I saw
and
it.
we don't make
That
our
was
own money.
bullshit. You
Yeah,
know
we do
that.
make our own money. Our money is printed.
Yeah, but it's like
that's not real.
that's a complicated.
it's a very complicated thing to explain. We
It
do
is.
make the money, but it's only certain money is allowed to be printed as per the Federal Reserve, which
Yes.
is not actually the U.S. government. It's actually owned by a privatized bank, but it's and I'm probably explaining it wrong, so I'm sorry, internet world, if I'm fucking it up. But
Fuck you, internet
It's
world.
a
if you
lot.
listening.
It's a lot more complicated than
Gang.
you think.
You're gonna get Trump's fact checkers at us.
Man, that was good.
Actually, not Trump's fact checker.
Fuck your
Oh,
facts.
that's right. He doesn't have any because he's always fucking shit up.
Fuck
So-
your facts.
I mean, yeah, he does, but
Who's got a can of Goya beans?
All right, so here's the question: family business or business family? Which would you rather have?
business family.
Business family from Big Thrax,
I like the Kardashians.
Family business.
family business Kardashians, Miss Kim.
Definitely a business family.
Same as Thrax over here. Business
Same as
family.
Thrax.
So so let's dive into that a little bit more. What would you call? How would you define a business family?
Where every member of the family, or let's say a good majority,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because some may fall under the others, you know, under the wings,
Mm-hmm.
that has the hustle. They may have their individual ideals, their own businesses, their own hustles individually, and they come together as a family business.
No, I absolutely agree.
That's what you would.
Yeah, absolutely. I piggyback off the Queen all day on that one. I think it's smarter if you have a business family because that's more hands in the pot of other businesses that your family's getting their name and you're getting a little foot in the door. So say you have your business, you know,
Nature's justice.
Pelican, say she has her own business, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, the Queen has her own business. Like, that's literally like, that means I can have mine, you guys jump in mine, I jump in yours. That's like, literally, you double to quadruple the income. So it's like, why is that not smarter than just one business? I get it, the morals and
We're not talking about
instead of-
family, like, we're not talking about that, though.
No, business of family.
Yeah.
Yeah, multiple members have
yeah.
a different business, so you have your foot in the door, your
But you
family
feel like that's
established.
okay.
I feel like that's well better off for the future that's coming after us, absolutely.
And I feel like I kind of agree in the sense of like family business. It can literally like the next like, all right, if you have a family business, the next generation, the business can literally fall off if none of those kids, if none of your kids or you never have kids or whatever, and they're never interested in the business. Now all of a sudden after your shit, it's gone. Like if you have a business family, y'all can set up for years, for generations and generations. You know, so I feel like that's kind of one of those things where I can see how having wanting a business family would be better
Than having a family business.
yeah.
Right,
So
right.
Because you can't have multiple family businesses under a business family.
Yeah, because who could say that the kids or your next generation would want to go into it and it would die off?
But if they got their own thing that they're that they're gonna hustle for and put all their resources into, and you are willing to help them and invest into them also, then all of a sudden, boom.
Right.
You're further developing that process.
Businesses collapse. You know, one collapses, and then you have your others to go on. So.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So should a family be run like a business?
Ooh, see, that's sticky. That's sticky because we've seen it. Some work and some don't.
Right.
I think it depends on the degree, how far you go with it.
Go with
The business aspect of running a family like a business.
right. Why?
I think it would be taken too far.
To where it's almost severe and
government, military,
right.
business like, and it's too much.
Ooh, military business. We missed that in the last topic. All right. So, what would you rather do? Run a business or run a country?
Run a country.
Run a country.
Oh, run a country.
Oh my
Drax said
God.
that a little too eagerly,
Run a
bro. You
country.
need some new draws.
If the mic could pick up his face,
Oh, yeah, run a country all goddamn day.
even with the troubles that are going to come with that.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Feast, famine, destruction.
That's all right. That's all right. You
I'm
can
do what
build
the
it.
fuck I want though.
You can build to something
Say,
that's
niggas gonna
different
die, but it ain't
than
gonna
what
be
the
me.
culture is now. Like, I don't know. I always have like this. Sometimes when I daydream, it's crazy. I've even brought this up. Said sometimes I dream like, you know, what if honestly you could buy a big plot of the world somewhere and start your own system. Like your own system, you know what I'm saying? Kind of like what they're doing in Africa right now.
can.
That's what I'm saying. It's like kind of what they're doing in Africa. But I don't like the way they're doing it.
That didn't work for Jim Jones.
You know what I'm saying? But I don't know. I just think that would be better than running a business because you literally could create something different to where the whole civilization or your whole community, culture, whatever you want to call them, you know, your whole place is set right.
Right.
There's no difference.
In 3 days.
There's no difference in whether, you know, if I created it, you're still an equal to me.
Right,
And that's
right.
where, you know, where greed and business has set everything off of balance
Right.
because that's where they got the
'Cause
classes.
the rules are all fucked
right.
up.
You got the broke, you know, and all the down here. Then you got the broke class, the lower class, the almost
broke.
good middle class, the middle class. Like holy
Never
shit, I made it.
spoke
The middle class that's okay. The middle class that's getting to the top, and they're like, shit. Do I even want to be there because I'm getting taxes? Like,
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Because I've heard it. You know what I'm saying? Because you guys start to get to that bread, and you're just like, yeah, the more you make, it's like, yeah, but you're not classified as rich though.
No.
Right.
But the
no.
rich get rich. You know what I'm saying? You just wouldn't have that, and that's just my opinion.
Yeah.
So yeah, someone else you can. But
So run a country would be
run a
more,
country all day.
Miss Kim.
You know that was a great question, and my first thought is a business because, and to be honest, I mean the idea of running a country sounds amazing.
Mm.
I don't know that I could handle the pressure of it because the pressure comes with famine, comes with the destruction, and it comes with, you know, all the bullshit that comes with running a country.
Right.
I mean,
right.
look what we do to our current president right now, past presidents, even the good ones, got the shit.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
What president's really been good? Let's be honest.
Well, I wasn't around when there was good ones, but I heard Kennedy was pretty fucking good. I don't really know.
They was lying about that.
I'm just saying,
They probably were.
I say from the
Right.
start of presidency, the original president was a slave owner.
Well, no, he was, but
The first 20. No, is it the first 10 or 15?
of course.
Slave
Yeah,
owners.
so deal with
Of
y'all
course.
white kids.
So it's just, like I said, but I respect your opinion, but I
No.
just, you know what I mean?
I know, but with all the good that you see with coming, there's always going to be bad, and it's not going to be just bad. It's going to be really fucking bad.
Right.
And how are you going to handle that?
Right, that's a good question.
When 100,000 of your people were just fucking slaughtered, or
Right.
when a tsunami hits your fucking island,
Right.
and you got those people crying at your doorstep, and you ain't got shit to give them. How are
Right.
you going to handle that shit running
Right.
your country? And being me, I don't know that I could handle that.
Right, but
Is that any different?
But that would go the same way if it was a business. 'Cause you, like, say you're starting a business, you don't know how it's gonna go. What if like you don't get the clientele that you thought? You got such a good, say a good building, a good location, but you don't get the people that you thought.
Right,
You
but
don't get
scale for scale,
your
running that
inventory to
business
get-
is going to be a lot less than that fuck up.
I would say I think it depends on the mindset of the person. In my
I
opinion.
wonder. I'm gonna ask it as a question. Is it any different? Is there any difference in being the person that makes a decision for an entire nation that is deciding if the stocks are gonna go up, if they're gonna have a job tomorrow, or whatever, or being the CEO of a company and deciding if we have enough whatever to make the payroll and stay open? If you've been running a company for 20 years and you've had 15 different employees that have all been with you that now have kids in college and pensions or whatever, and now you're like, well, y'all gotta go. I mean, that's wouldn't that be a certain?
And that's what
No.
Trump did with the pandemic team at the beginning of his presidency. That's when he was like, yo, you gotta, it's the exact same thing.
Like,
You
I don't
know,
need y'all. Right when
It
you're ready
is.
to do, like, how do you deal with
and
that?
those
that,
are scales. Those are scales that I don't know as me
that you did.
that I could do.
So what you're saying
A
in
company,
terms of that scale, you
corporation,
can handle that level of pressure.
Yeah,
The exponential increase up to
Of a
here to-
country?
yeah, it's like nah.
those pressures are different in my opinion, and I don't know that I want that fucking responsibility.
So you don't know if you would have acquired your pandemic team a week into your
I
presidency?
certainly would not have done that because I know how my karma works. My juju. As soon as Kim fires the pandemic, guess what?
Yeah,
We're gonna
she's
have
popping out.
we're gonna
She's
have a
popping out.
pandemic. That's what's gonna happen.
So, how does military and business tie into each other?
Take it away.
No, I'd like to.
No,
it's
go
too
ahead.
easy.
No,
It's
just too easy for me.
Yeah, it's too easy. It's too easy. But I really want to pick on some of you others. I like to pick on Justice, but did you have something? No, Justice.
Well, I mean, because my lack of knowledge with the military, but I mean, I think that it's all under the same thumb of the elite, and they all filter money within each other, and it's all just a huge fucking business. That's why I call it big puppet business. It's because everybody's under the same thumb.
trying to make money or
Yeah.
filter the money and move the money in a lot of ways.
In a lot of
that's-
ways.
I've always kind of thought, I don't know this factually, so any fact checkers will, I'm sure, check me. I've always kind of thought that countries paid us to invade other countries. I think we make money off war.
Oh yeah. Oh yes, we do. Oh yes.
I'd have to research
Okay.
that, but I'm pretty sure it's not countries. It's more like private banks in the
In countries?
No,
No?
they're separate from the countries. They're
Uh-huh.
speculators and just privateers and venture capitalists or
Right.
whatever. Basically, banks,
Banks.
the Rothschilds, people like that. Well,
So they just pick up the
know,
phone one
truly.
day?
yeah. Well, no, it's more like they pick up the phone one day and they. So in my estimation, would it be like I got the money, and I got the four of y'all here. I know these two kind of have a spark of tension. I know this one supports this one. I know this one supports this one. So I'm going to talk to him and make sure he stays in his pocket. And I'm going to talk to her and make sure she stays looking after you. And then I'm going to pimp him and just kind of throw him a little bit of bone about her to piss her off. Right? Just a little bit. Not to piss him off, but just to piss her off so that she keeps just to keep that spark. So then when this shit pops, just enough that it's an issue, no one goes to war, but he wants to be ready for the shit that she's going
Where's
to
the
bring.
money to?
Let me get there.
Okay.
He wants to be ready for when the shit pops off, so he comes to me to get the money to go to the weapon maker so that he has what he needs to be defenseful. And now that she sees him being defenseful, she comes to me to get the money to go to the weapon maker, who also happens to be my cousin, uncle, sister, aunt.
Right.
So my money that I'm getting from them gets funneled right through them and right back to me.
Right.
And they happen to be, in this case, representative countries. I'm a private entity. Those countries are actually made up of 1 million individual people that are paying taxes, and that's where the money comes from. So that would be my guesstimation of how it works.
No, that seems logical.
Right. Whew, that was a lot. Sorry, I completely blew the fourth wall there. Not supposed to come out my narrator mode. So, okay, here's the last question, and then we'll go roll up some CBD.
Yay, CBD.
How does sports play into business?
Oh my
I
God!
love
What?
CBD.
Are you serious? How do sports play into business?
And this is meant from.
It's entertainment.
Okay.
Oh, and what is entertainment? It grasps your attention. What can you put with that? You can put other messages like commercials. What do you say? The 2-minute time blocks. Like, okay, we'll just go with the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl alone has investors that throw and say, "Hey, get our name out there, so we can get more people to latch onto us."
Gambling.
Yeah, that's gambling alone.
Bookies.
Man, that's such a.
If it's not the biggest form of business out there.
Oh,
It's huge.
100%. I mean, it touches literally every single thing.
sports.
Sports does.
Sports.
Every single thing.
I would still argue that pharmaceutical is still the biggest in this world, other than
well,
warfare.
pharmaceutical and
one of the
sports.
biggest. Sports is one of the biggest
Sports
things.
medicine.
Is sport in
Sports
itself?
medicine.
Yeah.
Sports medicine.
Pharmaceutical, you got doctors that uses pharmaceuticals.
Sports
but hey,
touches absolutely every form of business.
In some way or another.
Anywhere from pharmaceuticals to fucking head
Oh,
and
wow.
shoulders. It touches everything.
hey, I'm entertained by both.
That's a double entendre. That's a good one. That's a good one. All right, so actually that's all we have today, guys. Really good time.
Oh my bad.
Man, I don't really. I'm actually kind of exhausted because there's so many good answers. I'll probably come back and combine a bunch of this again because I think we hit so much stuff that I want to talk about more, especially the military and the slavery bits, the government bits. I think there's a lot to dive into here. I learned a lot, especially from the honor aspect of the military. That was definitely a good piece for me. I definitely learned overall, one of the biggest insights I got was that despite the negative connotation towards military and business, there still is this kernel of faith and hope that's there. Even though you, Ms. Kim, have a natural distrust of human beings and business, you seem to have a natural trust of being able to do the right thing within the scope of business from your own perspective, which is the same as Justice's, even though you'd rather a family business over a business family. So I appreciate the dichotomy and the split in that, especially when you compare it to military, because, you know, military is a business. It is definitely a transfer of funds from one nation to the next, and usually it's pulling those funds from the taxpayers and creating even further servitude so that the businesses now have a built-in community of debtors that they can use. So to me, it's all tied together. That's why I asked the question, was military and business combined in any way? You know, because I think business is a military. I think military is a business.
Oh, yeah.
And I think a lot of the ways, if you look at one, and I didn't catch it till just now, but when you were talking and describing some of the titles, when we were talking about commandant, you know, brigadier general, chief this, chief that, and then you start looking at businesses,
Yep.
chief executive officer, chief financial officer. We may not salute, but we're all stand at attention when the CEO goes on parade through the building. You know what I mean? Yes, sir. Slave I remain. So there's a lot of interesting tiebacks and tie-ins to the whole system. So with all of that, I appreciate all of y'all's time, and we'll see you next time. Thank you so much.
Tracks out.
Gang.
And affiliates.
All right, then. That's going to do it for this time, folks. Hope y'all found a spark of interest along the way. If not, spark another one to try again. So